Hi! That's an absolute gong show. Good lord! Can you guys hear me? Hi! Can you guys see me? That's an absolute gong show. Let me know in the chat. I very much apologize. Good lord! Good God! Can you guys see me? Let me know. I've been here the whole time. Very much apologize. Jack, Retro Game Sport, Armin, Dark Elite, the Elite. Can you guys hear me okay? Jack, how is the game sound? How are we doing? God, I hate OBS. I've been ready. I've been ready since 7. It's insane. I don't like any of this. That's fine. We're having a good time. How's my audio? Are we okay today? I can't show you all. I got him. Mike, hi. I got a new desk.
How's my audio?
So I'm very excited.
Today? Can't show you all.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
Mike, hi.
Well, let's record this thing and let's have some fun tonight. We can hear you, but there's an echo in the background. I can hear you twice. Let's record this thing and let's. Now I closed the chat. I was streaming somewhere else. How was that? How excited am I, Apple Juice, for 2K22? I'm very excited. I'm very excited for this weekend. Jack, how is it now? Echo gone? Or am I still echoing? Better. Better. Okay. I got my game audio is fine. I turned the camera down. I think we're okay. Good. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Assemble Live with Retro Wrestling. Great to have you. Good to see you here on the show. I'm excited. It's Monday. We're getting ready for Raw tonight. It's going to be an absolute gong show. Just nothing. It's silly. Isn't it? Isn't Raw just like... There's not a whole lot going on there, is there? I mean, Bob Lashley I love. We got 2K22 happening real soon. I'm excited. We're going to get a reveal. Like I've said this in the previous episodes. Get in here, Mike. Apple Juice. We might get a trailer. We might get gameplay. We might get a cover star. I have no idea. I legit have no idea what we will get this weekend, but I'm excited. I can't believe we're gonna get something. God, it's ridiculous. Are you gonna do a SummerSlam predictions video? Ah, Jack, my man. Well, funny you should ask. Actually, I already did one a week ago. I gave some early predictions. Go check it out, youtube.com/assembleshow. I put, the thing is in there. It's on your screen. I did predictions. What we see for cover star. Bonus content. What we might see, what we won't see. Our hopes and dreams. It was fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. If you're new to the show, do Matt a favor, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and consider becoming channel members and do that whole thing. Get priority in chat sequence. You can support the show however best way you can. It is all fantastic. Tonight on the show, we are playing a little bit of Wrestlemania 2000. As you can see, guess what? Matt got himself, he changed his controller. Yeah, Jack, very early predictions. Very early, but I had fun. I updated my controller. Go retro. Do retro. Non-title match. If you guys did check out, you may not have. I just uploaded Retro Wrestling Episode 2. Stone Cold Steve Austin had the Assembled Championship, took on The Undertaker, the Dead Man, Tombstone Pile Driver. And things happened. And I had a lot of fun doing that episode. So go check that one out. It is in the Retro Wrestling Live playlist. Tonight, we're going to kick things off with Jericho versus... Double J. Let's go. Now, we're not only just playing a little bit of retro wrestling, everybody. That's fine. That's a good time in itself. We're having a good time together hanging out. We're getting ready for Raw, for SummerSlam, for WWE 2K22. I did see Mike in the chat. Black Panther, War for Wakanda. If you enjoy Marvel's Avengers like Matt does. Woo-wee! We got some Marvel's Avengers tomorrow. It's going to be marvelous. I'm very excited. Tonight, we are also not only playing WrestleMania 2000 together. We're going to chill out, have a good time. We're going to talk AEW Rampage. We are going to talk about how that 1 hour show turned out, our thoughts on it, how the show came together. We're going to talk about Roman Reigns versus John Cena, last Friday's SmackDown, what I thought about that, the promo, the standoff between the two. And a little bit of NXT, actually. The changes, the releases. If you guys follow the channel, you know we do a ton of wrestling here, obviously. Only got Deborah McMichaels in there. It's interesting what's going on with NXT. And you know what? Let's start there, everybody. Let's talk about the changes to NXT. Talk to me in the chat. Do you guys want to see an episode covering kind of like the downfall of NXT or what's going to change? I've been noodling some ideas. CM Punk, AEW, let's go. Yeah, I've been noodling an idea with an episode covering NXT of like what killed NXT or what's gonna happen to NXT after SummerSlam, that kind of thing, or TakeOver. Come on, Jericho. J-E double F double T. See, Jericho here. Y2J does not have his Judas effect. That's okay. Ooh, it's a giant one. So let's start off with NXT. What are your guys' thoughts on NXT? What are your thoughts on the changes that it seems like NXT is about to go through? Do you think that all of it is true and that roughly around, you know, post TakeOver, post SummerSlam, we get 1 or 2 call-ups from NXT? Vince poaches a couple of stars, and do you think that NXT gets completely overhauled into basically Performance Center developmental system, OVW? Do you think that we're actually going to get that, you know, really soon? Or do you think that it's going to be kind of a combination? Because what are you going to do with, like, I feel like they got, unless they're going to wrap up all their storylines, what are you going to do with folks like Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa? Let's assume Adam Cole Bebe stays with NXT. What are you gonna do with all of kind of your main event talent there on NXT? If you're Vince and you turn it back into like a developmental, it doesn't mean that they're off TV. They still have the contract with USA Network. So I'm kind of sitting here like, okay, everything that we read online is all that, you know, WWE is going to scrap NXT and it's going back to developmental system. Like, you have I don't know how long the contract is with NXT and USA, but you're still going to have that product on Tuesday nights on TV. So what are you supposed to do? Like, the ratings at its highest for NXT were around 700,000 and change. And AEW has been going up to like 1 million. Boom. But what are you gonna do if you're USA Network and like you're gonna put it down to developmental? And if you do that, are you just basically saying that this whole thing is a wash and we don't care? And you watch the numbers, the ratings go down to like what? He pinged me in the balls. And the ratings go down and they plummet to like 100K or 200. Like, I don't get that. That's like Vince just saying, well, to be honest, he's got like 205 Live, doesn't he? And if that thing averages just over 100,000 or 200, keeps it on TV. So I was like, why would you keep it on TV if it's going to plummet and USA's not going to want that on TV? Maybe they just get rid of it. I'm not too sure. And I guess the other question to all of you is, are you going to be on, is NXT going to keep the current power in there of Triple H and Shawn Michaels kind of running everything day to day? If it goes back to a developmental system, how are you really going to be doing that? Like, what is the point? I don't know. I'm really curious what is going to happen to this. And I'm curious what happens to the roster. Guys like Ciampa have said before, even when he got called up and then brought back down, he didn't want to go to main roster. So do guys that are like Ciampa, Gargano, who can, like, they can go in a main event anywhere, but do guys like that, do they just become like coaches in NXT, developmental? Is that how they transition? But then you have a guy like Kyle O'Reilly, who they've been pushing big time, who's presumably going to get the win at TakeOver, right? As Adam Cole kind of just does the favors. Like if Cole leaves and is done, he should lose and do the honors to O'Reilly on his way out. Get O'Reilly over as a bigger babyface, all of that stuff. And if you do that, and then you're just going to turn around and you're going to turn the entire show into a developmental system, what are you supposed to do with that? Or are you going to change things up on main roster and go with, like, cruiserweights again? And turn main NXT into, like, this really mega cruiserweight division? Which would suck, because Vince doesn't care about cruiserweights. It's all very perplexing. How are we doing over here, everybody? Ciampa said he'll retire before he does main roster. And you know what? Dark Elite, Eric, thank you for joining. Ah, Court! My best man. My other fellow Canadian, my Canuck. 1, 2. Oh! Jericho! Got him! No finisher tonight. Court, how you doing, buddy? Just going through some chat here. Finish up that sequence. It's not bad. It's not great. Dark Elite says NXT about to be blander with WWE head Jake Atlas acting and wearing those plain tights, no rainbow sequence. Ah, good point. Jack. I think it could be true, and I don't think it's a good idea. I think Triple H did a pretty good job with NXT. I think it'll be fully scrapped and might go back to NXT 2014. Oh, are we not gonna get like what the hell do they do? Like the game show NXT? Let's do that. Let's use guys like Kyle O'Reilly and let's put them into like a contest. You know, like throw a barrel down the stage, that kind of bullshit. It's funny how like Finn came up and then like all of this just happened, eh? Or better yet, how Samoa Joe got released, got brought back by Triple H, and then they're gonna do this. And they also like, and Joe is in a program with Karrion Kross, their NXT champion. And Kross is like nothing. We're going to Sunday Night Heat. Kross has done just nothing on main roster. But he's your champion going into this huge program with Joe. It's very wild. I rather enjoy it. Alright, I'm going with X-Pac! And it's going to take on three-way dance, ladies and gentlemen. Ken Shamrock. And let's put in Mankind. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. That's a Sunday Night Heat match, except for Mankind. Yeah, I think Ciampa would probably retire. I think if Cole goes and he shows up at AEW in a couple of weeks, that's going to be crazy. I think Ciampa would probably just retire. He's got so many things with his neck, and he's been in a tag team, and he hasn't been in the main event scene at all. Like, I don't know. I think he's done too. But he's had an amazing run. Dark Elite says, Cole, Kyle, and company too small. Vince is not taking anyone seriously at their size. Look how big Seth is, and that's the smallest guy, not named Ray. Yeah, and Seth is very established at this point. He can draw money. He's proven. So it's not even a matter of that. Then you have guys like Ray. Ray is special, yes, 100%. And Ray has a giant contract with WWE, right? And he would negotiate certain things. See, he is a big, giant legend star. So he has that cachet, and that's fine, because there's value there. But this has come up on other podcasts, too. And I don't... It's an interesting point, and I don't disagree with this. That... We're all upset as fans that like, oh my god, you're gonna destroy this thing that we enjoy, and like you never properly brought stars up. Look at guys like Bobby Roode or Shinsuke taking on Dolph Ziggler when he got called up originally. You have all of these stars from NXT that got brought up that Vince never used properly. But I guess the flip side of it is Vince gets these guys fresh, cold, new. He gets these stars, and he doesn't know what to do with them. He should. Creative should. But he doesn't utilize them, and he might look at them on the current roster going, well, what do I do with a guy like Ciampa? Or Bob Roode. Bob Roode, big time over in NXT. Bob Roode is not 6'2", 250. And he's average size. And so Vince might look at it even then and just be like, well, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do with these guys. How do I market another, like, good technical wrestler? Because one of the, like, and I'm not saying that NXT isn't perfect. Like, I know NXT has a few problems, and has, because one of the issues that, again, a lot of different podcasts were talking about is how, oh, good move, X-Pac, is how NXT problem could be viewed that they don't have enough characters. Because when you boil down a lot of them, they are, like, good wrestler. The ones that are already, like, established from the indies and stuff. Like your Coles, Undisputed Era, guys like that. Now, I take someone like Johnny Gargano and I go, oh my god, he could be like Daniel Bryan because he's funny, he can be serious. Like, we've seen him in every iteration. And the current iteration with The Way is great. But Vince might look at that and go, I need, like, everything's been reported, Vince needs big characters. Larger than life. Your Hogans, your Warriors, your Goldbergs, Brock. I wonder if Vince and Bruce Pritchard are like, yeah, I don't know what to do with good wrestler guy. We already have enough of those on the roster. We need attractions, which is what they've talked about. So I don't really disagree with that idea, but it's just, it's all like, so with Vince and them, it's being reported that they're looking for big wrestlers, big attractions. That's what they want to do. Heidenreich. They want that all over again. Even if that's true, it doesn't necessarily matter, because if you don't have compelling stories for them, you could bring out the next Triple H. A guy who is like 6'4", 250 pounds, wrestling like just, you know, typical power plant wrestler who is great. You could have that, but if Triple H or next star that is like that comes up and comes their way that they really like, it doesn't necessarily matter, does it? Because if the stories are no good, if the storyline is bad, if the creative is not there, then what does it matter? You can have your Lesnar, you can have your Goldberg type of characters, those giant ones. But if they're not put in anything in a feud or anything that's got substance, fans are not going to be compelled. You can't just keep putting them in non-title #1 contender matches and assume that everything is cool. Jack says, correction, Vince doesn't need big guys, he wants big guys. Big guys aren't always a good idea. Braun Strowman was a flop. Yeah, and Jack, I am with you. I don't think, at least in the wrestling products that I enjoy, the wrestling shows I enjoy, I like variety. I like to have, you want to have those big matches, those big stars. The Roman Reigns, John Cena. That feels like big main event, big attraction match. That's great. Let's have that. Let's also have a dope cruiserweight division. Let's have a tag team division with actual tag teams. And you have 3 hours on Raw alone. You're telling me you can't put together a good variety that would speak, like, that's what it is, right? It's not, it doesn't matter how big or small the stars are. But based on all the reports and everything out there, it sounds like Vince and everybody is like, we don't want guys that are already like established indie wrestlers anymore that we're developing, because we don't know how or what we're gonna do when they come over to the main roster. Because they're great with the core audience, but does Adam Cole translate to Raw and SmackDown TV for that big, large audience? I think he does. But maybe not for Vince and what they're looking for. I don't know. It's very, very interesting though, because have we had something, let me know in chat, have we had something like this in the past? Like, I think of just WCW 2000, where they stripped, what was it, they stripped them all, like all the titles, and then they just hit the literally reset everything, and it still didn't, they still went out of business. Vince bought them. And I know NXT is not, it's not Raw. It's not like Raw is going down or anything. But I say Triple H, Shawn, and everyone at NXT, they built and positioned NXT in the last couple of years as a third brand. As an actual, get out of here. As an actual third brand. When they did the Survivor Series thing the other year, like 2 years ago now, or was it last year? And they had NXT versus Raw and SmackDown, all of that, like pre-COVID. That thing was amazing. It was so cool. But then they kind of mess it up, and then they don't execute things properly by having Charlotte win the NXT title and go over to NXT, beating on Rhea Ripley and everybody, and doesn't lose. And it was like, why? What are you doing here? You brought over one of your main stars from Raw and won your title. Shit. And didn't do anything with it. And it's just wild to me. They went down those paths and they don't really pull it together, do they? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here, joining us tonight on Assemble. I'm excited. We get a lot of stuff to talk about. Next thing I wanted to talk about is going to actually be AEW Rampage with you all. But let me know, what did you guys think? What do you think of NXT? What do you think of NXT's rebranding, the shuffle going on there? Do you think it's going to happen sooner rather than later? Do you think that we are actually going to be getting changes to the roster and everything, like in a week and a half? I wouldn't put it past them. I think they're very silly people over there. But I appreciate you guys all watching, hanging out. God, dang it. Stinking X-Pac. You lost it for me. Fired Bronson, who was the big and athletic, and just the... Yeah, when Bronson Reed got released, and then all of these reports came out about, like, Vince wants big guys. He wants these attractions. Like, wasn't he like 300 pounds plus? And a champ? And over 6 feet tall? And you brought him up in dark matches? You're telling me you don't have room for a guy like that? I kind of argue right now that you don't have that star. What do I know? All right, let's go over to Wrestlemania. So, as we go through our next match, and then fine, I will do The Undertaker versus... let's beat the tar out of Shane. How about that? Oh, Blue Shane! Yay! Let's do this. Rampage. So, switching gears. What do you think about AEW Rampage? Friday nights, here in Canada, it was like 10 p.m. It was right after SmackDown. Dark Elite Eric says Rampage was fired. I mean, fine. I zoned out during the main event, though the rest had me buzzing like schwipe. Oh, you thought it was fire. See, Matt's old. Not too old for language and lingo. Also tired, but that's okay. Oh, Johnny! Johnny be bad. My super video brother. Great to have you here, my friend. So AEW Rampage, I thought the main event I thought was good. Not what I would have done. In retrospect, I think it could have been. I think the main event could have been better. And don't get me wrong, Britt Baker, I am a big fan of. I really enjoyed it. She had against Red Velvet. It was solid. I felt like it just didn't click enough. And I think that there just wasn't enough momentum going to that for your main event of this new show. And you're kicking things off. I also understand, though, like, you could say, well, then you should have put Kenny in the main event. You know, Kenny and Christian, and we had Christian win the actual Impact Championship, which is really cool. I did not see that coming. Maybe they just wanted to get the crowd going early. That was my guess when it came to Kenny actually starting things off. So, the show overall, I thought, like, solid. I actually really enjoyed it. I was really hyped for Rampage. I wanted to see what they were going to come out of the gate and do. And you know what? I think they actually delivered on everything that they needed to. I think this doesn't even look like Shane McMahon, by the way. I forgot. I was like, how's that Shane? He's just generic guy. It's silly. I thought that they did a great job with it. It was great to see Miro. They had Kenny versus Christian, which was a great match. Like, that felt like a pay-per-view match, which we're gonna get it as a pay-per-view. But I thought that was like, it did very well. The ending to the Kenny Christian with the, was it that, or am I thinking of a Dynamite? No, never mind. I'm thinking of Dynamite. I thought the promos on Dynamite were weird, like out of back and forth was weird. But the match between Christian and Kenny, it was great. Like, it was so fun and surprising. And that's what's cool, is that they didn't give you what we would get in WWE, which would be like standard DQ, you know, run in, DQ, and there's a schmage, and Kenny retains. I did think Kenny was going to retain the title. I didn't expect him to actually lose that thing. But that sets up, the other thing with that is that it sets up for the pay-per-view that, like, I would not think that Christian would win the AEW World title, because it's been set up for what's his face, cowboy shit, Page. So I don't think, and like, now you gave Christian the Impact titles, which is cool. Now he can go over to Impact. You got a big name at Impact to have those feuds. And I think Christian title reign as, I'm gonna destroy Shane, Christian's reign as Impact champion, I think it's going to be short-lived. I think he is in there because it wouldn't make sense for Kenny to drop the belts to somebody at Impact. And so I think that it's smart. You got Christian, an established veteran legend. He can draw. You put Christian in there. He can go into a feud. Oh, Michael Hayes! P.S. Hayes, he's coming down. Do. What? That broke up my pin? Piece of shit. Dick. Oh. Not nice. Oh, PSA still has it in him. Do. And how is Shane pulling up? Shane pulls off a pile driver. Yeah, and they scrapped the Kenny versus Page match, right? So we got the Christian one, which again, fine. So with that Rampage, we had Miro as well with Del Sol. Del Sol gets a contract from Tony Khan. I thought that was a cool moment. I thought Del Sol was extremely over, and yay, you need those stars. You need those kind of, like, I don't know, like the underdogs that fans can really get behind over a long period of time. They can see kind of their homegrown guys, like Del Sol, go from the indies and gain those contracts, and those are great moments to have. Miro is amazing. I really love what they've done with him, just tweaking his character when it comes to, like, the TNT title. I just didn't know what to expect. I also didn't know what to expect from Rampage, because, I mean, one, I wish that they had a different set. I like the aesthetics of my wrestling. I like when shows look and feel different, and maybe they'll do it. I wish, that was my one criticism, is that all the graphics and everything were updated and it looked like it was gonna be intense. I wish that they upped their game a little bit and did a few tweaks when it came to the actual presentation. Maybe the odd different camera angle, try different promo format. Like, the thing is that it's a new show on Fridays, and maybe it'll come with time, and maybe we'll just see small changes as we go, and it will just slowly progress, and that's cool too. I just was hoping that we would see something where I would noticeably go, oh, that's cool, that's different, in terms of the presentation. Like, I don't know, just different, like, lighting setups, like they didn't do camera angles for their entrances, something. Now that brings us, and then the Britt Baker Red Velvet main event. Thought it was good. You had Darby Allin and Sting doing the rafter stuff, which I think Darby is an incredibly huge star. rumors of him versus CM Punk first match. I think that would be great. I think it's getting a little long in the tooth, though. I mean, where they're kind of circling with Sting and Darby. I want to see them get into a much bigger feud with somebody. They've done stuff in the past, but I like to see them do a little bit more. And yeah, the Britt Baker main event, good. Britt being hometown, that's cool. I just feel like maybe that should have gone on first, because you can still get a huge crowd pop. But you want to go with your biggest stars. Choke slam! There you go. I'm going to do that again. That was fun. Now the question is, will we see, and I'm probably going to do a show on this tomorrow morning when I wake up, do we see CM Punk on Rampage? Coming out, and Jack is alluding to this in the chat. Thank you very much, Jack. Undertaker wins. See, with Rampage being a 1-hour show, I don't think that he doesn't show up on Rampage at some point. I do not think, I don't know. I don't know if I see him actually kicking things off on that show. I don't feel that it doesn't feel any bigger. But if you want to be able to get huge pop of fans, Chicago, maybe you do it. That'd be the biggest tease, though, if they don't. If you just have regular show and there's no Punk showing up, I don't know. I didn't think that show format feels like this giant AEW show that is like right on par with Dynamite. To me, it at the end of it, and again, week to week, totally changed. Still really liked it. I want to see where they're going with it. I'm gonna let this one play out, guys, so I can chat with you some more. WrestleMania cage match. I'm gonna watch it. You decide. Who is non-title match? Cage match at WrestleMania. Oh, Luke, you made it. Yeah, Luke, you're late. That's fine. I changed the times on it. It's my fault. But I thank you very much for coming in. Not too late. Just chatting. But I need contenders. One-on-one match. In a cage. WrestleMania. Who do you guys want? You want Vince versus Shane? We can go Farouk. Godfather versus D'Lo Brown. Mark Henry. A little AEW action. Oh, you know what? Kane and Big Show. Well, you want the slowest match possible. Alright. Well, it's a Big Show. Ooh, I like Kane's different attires. Let's do Kane's full. Nah. I want Kane's fully sleeved. Alright. I'll make everybody happy. I got Kane for Jack, and let's do Mark Henry for Luke, because Luke just came in. Look at Mark Henry's outfits. He's so silly. Why would he dress like that? Oh, I want white pant Mark Henry. That's fun. 20-minute time limit. Yes, there's bloodshed. What the hell? Alright, in a cage. Go for it, you guys. Punk is trolling like Jericho used to on his website pre-social media. Yeah, totally. He has to. And Tony Khan's even said in other interviews where he was like, oh yeah, no, I can't comment on any of this. I'm like, yeah, because you legally can't. Of course you can't. So Rampage, in a nutshell, I enjoyed it. Did you guys? Let me know in the chat if you had fun with Rampage. I thought it was good. But I'm curious to see what they do with it, and can they build it to be bigger than, as comparable to Dynamite. Dynamite is still great. I also thought that I know that they wanted to like really push the amount of star power that they had on that show. I really didn't enjoy having Jericho in the booth the whole show. Jericho's high-pitched yelling. What are these two doing? Oh, they're filling each other out. Jericho's high-pitched yelling the whole time really just started getting under my nerves. I didn't need that. And a 4-man booth is a lot. Like, I don't like that even on Dynamite they tend to do that, where they're like, I got a 4- and 5-man booth, brother. And Don Callis shows up. You have too much going on. And JR's lost half the time. I feel like the booth you need to trim that down. If you want to have it be Mark Henry as your backstage guy, and you got Big Show on Dark, put in just Excalibur and Taz, or some combination, and make that your team. You need a 2-man team, in my opinion, on Rampage. But again, I think that show can do really well because it can give more stars. Like, your first couple episodes, you want to make it a banger. You want it to make it feel like almost a pay-per-view. To really get people to notice it, to see what they could get. But as it kind of finds its level and its footing and, like, you know, it finds its base, it can't be Sunday Night Heat. It can't be Velocity. It's got to be strong enough Raw and SmackDown dynamic where it's supposed to be another A show. So what's really great is that it'll allow for the opportunity for other stars to really come out and get a bigger spot. And even existing stars. And I hope that they... Ooh, right in the cage. I hope that they do a good job where they can balance it. Where it's not going to feel like, well, Dynamite is a show. That's where you're going to get Elite. And, you know, you're going to get Christian Cage on Fridays. With a few other stars. I hope that it just... And I don't want, like, a roster draft split. This is a fast cage match. I hope that they can just kind of flow between all of it. And I think they will. I think they'll do a really good job. Okay, Eric, I will give you that. JR comes alive when he can argue with MJF and when he can argue with Don Callis. I will give you that. Sometimes I'm like, I just worry that he's like, good match, Excalibur. Hey, whatever. JR is still great. I still love hearing him on Dynamite. Jericho's awful. All he does is yell. I heard rumors a while ago, Luke, that SummerSlam was going to be held in the Thunderdome because of the new variant. I did too. Luke, I actually almost did, like, reported on it, almost did an episode when that came out, and I think that news was, time is weird, maybe a week ago. I held off on it because I was like, it sounds like they were doing that. It sounded more like they were making preparations to go to the Thunderdome in the event that the COVID cases were going up, there's new restrictions. And then I think honestly it was like the next day that there was another report that came out and they're like, nope, we're fine, we're moving forward, we're gonna have the show. It's gonna be, I don't know, it's still gonna be crazy to see what happens even coming into the fall with that. Tony Khan already said the 4-man booth might change according to Dave Meltzer. Ah, Dave Meltzer, yes. I prefer 2-man, but Dynamite is 2.5-man booth. I like Tony just chiming in when he needed and laughing when he does. Yeah. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Like, give me a 2.5-man booth. Spot he's never seen because he hasn't seen indie wrestling for the last 2 decades. Eric, he's just like, I don't know what's going on. What is this move? I guess, switching gears a little bit, everybody, and thank you again all for being here and hanging out. Let's talk about Cena. No, let's stick on AEW for a second before we move on to Cena and Roman and their SummerSlam match. Let's talk about, like, Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, and Punk, since we're talking AEW. So do you think we will get Bryan and Punk? And do you think we're getting Punk in Chicago in September? And do you think that we're getting Bryan in September? And I'll throw you the other one is Adam Cole. Do you think Cole will be done after TakeOver? And do you think that he will actually switch out, tag out, and head over to Dynamite? What do you guys think? I am leaning very heavily towards all 3 of those being a reality. And that is kind of crazy because Punk, wow, that would just... People are just going to be sitting there just just glued to watch him in a wrestling ring, cut a promo, do something. It's been so long. Brian is crazy as well, and hopefully if he is doing that it is a long-term deal. Brian can do different things, like where he said like he wants to work with New Japan. And Brian, you could see Brian in Impact. Like, that's kind of wild. And he can still go, and I love to see him in so many different feuds and matchups. And he loves working with other stars, younger talent. Jack says, apparently Daniel signed the contract, so I think we would get him. Punk, I don't know. They may just be trolled, but I don't know. And Cole, I don't see him on Raw, but SmackDown or AEW, yes. Yeah, Jack, I've always been that way too. Yeah, Luke, when you break up Undisputed Era, you let go of his buddies. And Cole specifically is like, okay, like, look, just judging, and we're judging based off of a TV product and then what we read, right? But you look at it, and as a fan, you're like, okay, you Adam Cole, you have done everything on the indie side. You've gone to New Japan. You've gone to NXT. You had big impact there, no pun intended. And you got put together and you created, like with the other guys, the Undisputed Era. You had an amazing run. You've held all the titles. You've had all the feuds. What is left? And for Adam Cole, and if Vince reportedly chucked him $1 million, like, oh, we're offering him $1 million contract to come to Raw or SmackDown, according to like Dave Meltzer, which there's not much validity there, in my opinion. You offer when the headline is like Adam Cole is offered $1 million contract by Vince to go to Raw or SmackDown. That could be true, but they don't add the other sentence of like over what time period. Is that a 5-year deal? And he gets $200K a year? Like, which maybe is great, and maybe it's not. Cole might look at that. If Vince offers him $1 million and over several years, and he's I say only, but he's making $200,000-$300,000 a year, Cole might look at that and go, no. Like, he's got Twitch, and he's got up, down, down that he's on. Like, he's got a ton of stuff. And then he could go to AEW and make less money, but work fewer dates. Not that NXT would, but compared to Raw or SmackDown, Cole could work fewer dates. He's not on the road a ton. And he's with his partner and Britt Baker and his friends. I don't know. It just feels like it would go that way. So I think that, yeah, and like you guys are saying, I think that Cole could be on SmackDown. I don't see him on Raw. And I would worry so much about him on Raw with seeing what they are doing with Karrion Kross and what they are not doing with Karrion Kross. Squash matches, 2-minute matches. His entrance is bad. It's sad. He looks just generic bad guy. Maybe Vince is trying to sees so much potential in him and wants to just kind of break him and build him up. But in the context for fans and the storylines, right? Like, Karrion Kross is your NXT champion. You're fighting Samoa Joe. And then he shows up on Raw and he's just getting beaten all the time. It's like, well, those two worlds don't talk. Robert Highwind, hi buddy. Great to have you. Thank you so much for coming by. So, like, I worry that Adam Cole would go to Raw and just huge pop, you know, people go crazy for the first couple of nights, and he gets into a mid-level feud with somebody to kick off his main roster push. I don't even know who he would fight on main. Like, we would say, oh, he's got to go and fight Lashley or something, but I'm like, no. Not to start. Like, who would he fight? Karrion Kross. Like, Keith Lee? Sheamus? Like, would he be US title? And he'd be in that mix. If he goes to SmackDown, I think he would have a better shot at thriving and standing out a lot, because immediately you could put a guy like Adam Cole on SmackDown with the current crop of stars. Sami Zayn, Apollo Crews, Kevin Owens, like essentially their upper mid card. And put Adam Cole in the mix with those guys, who are his friends anyways. And he can fill that Daniel Bryan role. And you could have him go up against anybody and it would be amazing. But I think that those crop of stars would be great. But the other thing is that he's got, not Cole, but like WWE has the draft coming up in October. So with being 2 months away, they're going to kind of, I think that they're just going to kind of shuffle their way all the way through until they get to the draft. And see what they're going to end up doing there. Yeah, Robert, have you seen those rumors that there's apparently a directive, and I quote, no midgets, no guys over 30? Yeah, that's pretty much what we're talking about now, is where do guys like Adam Cole go? Do they stay in NXT? Ciampa, Gargano, are they going to be gone? Or are they going to become coaches? I think it was Eric up there, or was it Luke? Luke69 says, I feel sorry for Triple H. Doesn't have any control anymore, or WWE and Vince controls NXT now. It's hard. We don't know, right? This is part of the conversation here. It's just, it feels like Triple H is being overthrown. He had no idea. There were reports going out online that Triple H and Shawn didn't know about the firings, the latest round. And then Laurinaitis and them, they just did it so that they weren't involved. And I feel bad. I'm like, yeah, Robert. I'm like, poor Triple H. Because it's, from that vantage point, he's done so much. And worked so hard to build this brand, to build a third brand, to, he himself pushing it, promoting it as a third brand. Constantly. And it always felt like that's what Hunter is doing. And that's what he wants. But Vince is not doing that. Because the stars they would bring to Maine didn't get that push. Nothing was talked about like they're running NXT, things like that. They were always separate worlds. But within NXT, Hunter always really made it feel, and tried to make it feel and push, that it's a third brand. And it's not developmental. And he got away from that. As soon as you got out of the era of, I think even back when Corbin was in NXT, once you got out of that, it really felt like NXT was a third brand. They called up that crop of guys and girls, and then it kind of took off. And you have those early days of like Seth and Bo Dallas and all of them, and Big E in there, and that felt like developmental. And those were younger stars that are now main eventers. Maybe that's what they want to go, maybe that's what Vince and everybody wants to go back to. Because they can't get NXT to this next level, or maybe they don't want to, period. I just feel like, man, it's an alternative, but to main roster, when you want to be able to see these cool indie stars. But that also, Hunter and folks at NXT, they've had it in them, they've been saying forever that they wanted to, what was the global localization of NXT, right? Triple H's got the big NXT map over the world, and he wants Japan, and he wants UK, and he wants South America. He wants NXT in all of these pockets all over the world. So they hoarded talent over the last 5 years. They put them all under 5-year deals. They scooped up everybody they could with the anticipation, the plan to go and push out the global localization plan. And you have NXT UK and you have regular NXT in US. That's all we have. And they're great. But if you're Triple H, you're like, well, I'm trying to get to Japan. I'm trying to expand all of these things. And he probably could make it happen if he didn't have his hands cuffed. But I don't know. I'm curious to see what they do. I just don't think that NXT is going to go anywhere. I'll tell you one star that they should try to poke if McMahon wants to do a draft and call somebody up, grab Walter. Grab that guy and grab Imperium and put, those are big guys. You want a big guy, Vince? Grab Walter and put him in the main event. Put him up against Lashley. Flip Lashley face down the road. He's naturally going to get over as a face. And get Walter in there and just destroy people. Vince would love that. That would be his next monster. Vince always likes to have a monster on his roster. DTMD. Well, Hunter can always make his own company and compete. Vince, to prove him wrong, he could. He could turn around one day. I mean, he's... Wouldn't that be the ultimate, though? All these years go by, and Vince is going down this other path, and Hunter's been working his ass off to do all of this. It would be hilarious if he turned around, because ultimately, the word has always been that Hunter is going to be the successor, and what if he's not? And what if he's like, he is where he is, and that's where it's going to stay, even when Vince is gone? Wouldn't it be interesting if Hunter just turned around and he's like, fine, I'll be my own CEO, and I'll run my own wrestling company? That would be hilarious. Dark Elite Eric, I don't feel... This cage match has been going on for a while. I don't feel for Triple H. He destroyed all my favorites, like McFoley, RVD, Kane, London, Spanky. You can burn. I feel... Yeah, I know. Those days are rough. And he just was, like, brutal with guys like RVD. Alright, this match is going on too long, and Matt wants to play. Let's try singles match for Matt, because he sucks at this game still so bad. Da-da-na-na. No, we're doing fine. Alright. I am wanting to do... let's do Christian, and let's have Christian take on Chris Jericho. A little AEW match. A little AEW action for us here. The Undertaker of Darkness King. What up? Kane! It's Christian. You think you know me? That's Edge. I've gone back, Eric, and I have watched the Punk promos from like Summer of Punk. His SummerSlam contract signing with Cena. I watched that like yesterday. Man, that thing is good. King, good to have you. Thank you for coming. By the way, everybody, if you are chit-chatting, if you are chilling in the chat, thank you, by the way. Thank you very much for being here, hanging out on Monday night. We got Raw happening. I'm glad you guys are here hanging out. If you can, do me a favor, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy that, become channel members, do all the fun stuff you do. I do appreciate you guys hanging out with me, talking a little wrestling, and do a little retro play too. You think you know me. You think you know me. Alright, AEW match. Here we go. Yeah, I like that version too, King, of Edge. I love Edge's old theme and his entrance video, where it's like him screaming and just running down some alley. And can I just say that, like, when it comes to the Titantrons and music for Stars, can we get some freaking good Titantrons for Stars? Can we get that back? I went to Raw, I guess a year and a half ago when things were open and they came out here. And I knew this was the case, but I was like, I saw it live for myself, and I'm like, wow, your Trons suck. You just get, like, Braun's name on the Tron. Remember, who did I see that night? I saw Roman, but you just, like, the majority of the roster, they just get their name popping up and, like, glowing. It was terrible. It's like Karrion Kross. I already got my special? What the hell? Oh, the squash match. But I hated that. Okay, come here. Ah. No! I'm gonna lose my finisher? No, you son of a... Ah. Like, WWE has all the budget in the world. We get no graphics. We get nothing. The entrances are poo-poo. They're getting a little better now. They got Pyro back, right? They learned something from Thunderdome. That's what you go to wrestling shows for. It's like a mini rock concert. You want pyro, you want loud music, you want, like, it's gotta have energy. When you take all that away and you just give them these generic entrances. I love the Trons. I love seeing when they update the Trons. Remember that as a kid? You're watching, like, Attitude Era? And they would, like, Austin's theme was there, and then he changed, like, they changed the video and stuff, or, like, certain stars would get released, so then they had to take them out of the video. Maybe it was just because it was a headache. Fuego del Sol is going to be my main when AEW game. Oh my god, DTMD. When that AEW game comes out, my goodness. Could we be in for a little treat? A little tasty treat? Something to snack on, huh? Just a little something, just a taster, just a tip. Because, good golly, Miss Molly. What the? Ah, Blue Meanie's coming! Ah, run! If we get AEW game with the current roster in itself, yay! I'm so excited. If it's an updated of this, I'm in. Christian's gonna get destroyed now. Edge is in the ring. You think you know me. You think you know me. Edge just runs around in the ring right now. I bet you 20 bucks. When Edge is in the ring with guys in his early days, I wonder if he was getting like over. I wonder if he like got in the ring and he started talking to guys and he's like getting close. He's gonna do like a Irish whip and he leans into them. He's just like, you think you know me. You think you know me. And they're like, they're like, Adam, could you just stop like whispering that to me, please? You think you know me. But yeah, could you imagine the AEW video game if we get it next year? Why do I keep blocking? We get it next year with the current roster. It could be great. We may not get like a like universe mode, GM mode, that type of deal. I don't even know if we would, because AEW has their GM mode on the app. That game they've launched. I don't know if they would go for a full like GM mode and make it like the ultimate wrestling game for fans. But if they make it very much like this, you don't need much more. Get a creation suite. Let us create a pay-per-view, create a show. You don't need a ton, but you just gotta make it solid. Solid gameplay. But if you have that roster that we have today, and then if it makes it in time, and you can get CM Punk and Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole, baby. Woo-wee! That game would be incredible. And if you do have Punk signed, if you have Bryan signed, that's a nice move. Even if you have Bryan signed, which is like, I say that like almost like, oh, not a big deal. It's huge. You could have like the cover options. If Bryan is on a decent enough deal, get that man on the cover of your video game. And your cover, I wouldn't put one guy on. I don't want to do a 2K scenario. By the way, I did an episode where I ranked all of the wrestling game covers, mostly the WWE games. And the covers, we ranked them. All like the 2K games, it's all just like one guy. It's boring. Sucked. Hated it. But you can get like an AEW game. Maybe you put multiple stars on the cover. And could you imagine you get Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, Darby Allin. Put in Christian in there too, just like faces, recognizable faces. And potentially CM Punk on the cover. Like, good God, you get so much. Very excited for that game, because if it plays retro like this, and it's a little bit prettier based on that little tiny sliver of a preview, I am so down. AW the video game Elite Edition, yes please. Oh, they would totally do that, DTMD. Wouldn't that make most sense? There's like, here's our Elite. The Elite. Oh, really, Chris? Your favorite wrestler is James Ellsworth? He had a good run. Not gonna lie, when they did that little tiny era of SmackDown where it was Ellsworth, I thought it was fun. But I like that they did the, they changed the camera angles on that, and they had the boom camera on the boom, like it was like really, really close and it would like start going across. I really enjoyed that. Because it was different. They got really like close up. Alright, Christian. Get it! That's not his finisher. At all! Alright. 3 count fall. Christian wins. I don't think Punk could have cult of personality for his entrance in AEW. That's sad. Really, Luke? Because he's had it for UFC. They just got to get the license for it. He's got to have cult of personality when he comes out. I do like, actually, Punk's pre-Money in the Bank 2011 theme, like his regular WWE one. I do like that one. Jack says, you got to think that when AEW will come out, if they keep signing people, they'll be working on the game and adding them in. The game will never be out. Yeah, I mean, Jack, that's a problem right now where we're talking on the channel all the time about WWE 2K22 and the roster changes and how it could impact the game, could not. Let's do a tag match. I'm going to watch this next tag match, brother. I wonder if, like with AEW, if it's like WrestleMania 2000 No Mercy, give us a killer creation suite, and I think fans will be fine. Give them just a lovely creation suite, and no one's really gonna have a problem. They can deal. They can create those stars. Road Dogg and Mr. Ass. Get the Ass Man. We got them hotties versus the Ass Man and Dog Guy. Oh, really, Eric? Living Color actually followed AEW on Twitter? That's hilarious. I can't wait for that. I kind of want to do a show on, like, CM Punk AEW. And not so much, like, the rumor side of it. Just what bringing Punk to AEW, what it could mean. I'm literally have, like, notes on my phone of, like, what I want to do with it. Oh, you didn't know? Your butt better call somebody. It's the Road Dogg, Just James. Mr. Ass is coming. The Ass Man is waiting. He's in AEW as well. But I kind of want to do a Punk episode talking about if CM Punk does end up in AEW, and it's all but confirmed, what it would mean for the company and what they could do. Not just the fuse, but how much more, how impactful. I don't want to use that in time and say what's the impact of CM Punk, but how impactful Punk's debut in AEW would, like, how much it would do for the company. Can one star put a wrestling company over the top? Because of how beloved he is and how, like, fans clamor for this and want it, and it's all but gonna happen. Is it one of those things where Punk comes back and after a couple of months we're just used to him and, you know, the honeymoon is over and it's whatever? Or do you think that it completely changes the landscape? Because for WWE right now, as a huge WWE fan forever, Roman's compelling to me, and I mean, I like Big E. Lashley I like. I'm tired of Drew right now because he was just pushed during COVID era. It is what it is. The women's division is meh. I don't like the Charlotte, Rhea, Nikki Ash stuff. I'm like, ugh, it just keeps going. There's not enough compelling stories. And if AEW can get even more compelling stories than they do, like they do a really good job, I think, at storytelling and letting things breathe. If they can keep doing that, I wonder, is CM Punk enough to be this entire revolutionary, game-changing star? Oh, DTMD, of course I remember when it was K-Quick and Road Dogg. That was a weird time. DX was done, Road Dogg's kind of floating around, they K-Quick together. It was fun. So the last topic of the show, everybody, is going to be John Cena, Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. What did you all think of the promo that they had on SmackDown this past Friday night? I thought it was actually pretty entertaining. Let me know in the chat. What did you think overall? Here, we'll do this. Make life easy for Matt. What did you all think of the actual promo, the whole segment? If you scored it out of 10, where are you guys? How would you rate the Roman Cena promo on SmackDown out of 10? I'll let that breathe for a second. Oh, and there's like 14 of you hanging out with me. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. What would you rate the actual Cena Roman promo? Think it was a 5, a 7, a 9? Did you love it? Did you think it was average? Give me a number. 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 7 out of 10. What do you think? Gaming with JJ Cena, what is up? Thank you so much for being here. Eric, you thought it was great? I thought the promo was good. Nothing new. Cena destroying the little dog as always. Big dog. It was funny how Roman, the one criticism I did have of it, because I was trying to watch it, like, I thought overall pretty good. It wasn't like, oh my god, this is iconic moment. I think it was missing that little bit of magic. There's something in there that just, it was really good, but it wasn't this like next level holy shit moment of these two giant stars in the ring. I think part of that was Roman's like attitude and response to Cena. Cena was allowed to get all of his stuff in on Roman. And the way Roman played it, he played it the way Roman Reigns would, like where he's trying to shrug it off, like this is silly, this is not a big deal. He put over Cena, but like in a joking way. I thought Roman was, all that was fine. All that was really good. I just wanted to see Roman get a little bit more intense and in his face and try to put him down a little bit. And I felt like he didn't do that, or they weren't going to let that happen. Yeah, Luke, that was my one thing, was that Cena going through his main like hook of his promo was the whole 1, 2, 3. I just need to get you for 1, 2, 3. That was his through line. That was the thing that he was trying to constantly get home. Was that Roman is going to destroy him, but he can get the 1, 2, 3, and that's all that matters. And it was just, that part was heavy-handed and done too many times. Again, I just wanted to see Roman push back a little bit more. And the other thing is, like, the way they have built this thing up is just, it's kind of classic Cena at this point, where Cena comes in and just has match. I want match. I want title match. I challenge you and I get title match. And that's fine. But I just we have neither of them have put their hands on each other. And that's okay. That can work. You don't have the big stars, the big money match. You don't want them to touch before the pay-per-view. So the build up, the anticipation is there. But there isn't that heat right now with it. And I want Roman to have done a little bit more. Doesn't have to do a chicken shit thing of like sneak attack. Roman doesn't do that. But he could have gotten in the ring and tried to at least get really close to his face and talk softly to him. And try to get Cena a little shaky. They almost need, to me, they almost need one more week. They had this promo, and then I feel like you could have set this promo up almost like at the beginning of the feud. Had these two go face to face, do this contract signing like 2-3 weeks ago, and then do this final confrontation right before we go into SummerSlam, which they might actually do. But now you don't want to do them back to back. But I feel like you still need that one final moment. Give me that big pull apart. Get Cena feeling doubtful. If fans are actually trying to get behind Cena, get Roman to get over on him a little bit more. But overall, I thought that the promo went really well. It was long, but you got Cena and Roman, who are going to be the most compelling characters out there on the show. And I enjoy Roman. I think that he's just, when you actually look at Roman Cena on Friday and go back and watch their whole back and forth a few years ago, Roman is a different character, and like Cena destroyed him and gave Roman cry face over and over again years ago. Couldn't do the promo with him. Roman is just like on another level right now, which is just great to see. MJF is a great promo. Chris says that I quit watching wrestling since 2014. Aw. And if Punk comes back, I'll be back. If not, then rest in peace wrestling. Oh yeah, Luke, where is Finn Balor in all of this? Yeah, didn't he... Did I miss something on SmackDown? Because the week prior, Corbin took out Finn during the contract signing. And then Corbin showed up on Raw. Corbin did another segment on Friday. Was Balor on, guys? Was Balor on SmackDown? I didn't see it. I didn't see Balor. I mean, I watched SmackDown. Like, did I miss something here? Balor wasn't even on SmackDown. So did they just like drop that whole Corbin feud or mini feud or whatever? Because that's some crap right there. Cena needs to put Roman over. Roman needs to beat, and a little bit of predictions here for SummerSlam. Cena needs, and I think will, lose. He will not get the 17th title because he's not here. Like, he's not around for it. I just don't see it happening. Roman goes over. Maybe it's more of a situation. It's like an Austin Bret Hart. Cena needs to get a protected loss. You may want Cena just to lose, because what the hell does Cena care? And like, he had it years ago, right, where Brock just annihilated him. And it was 1, 2, 3, and everyone just went, oh my god. Like, that's it. They just destroyed John Cena. Brock is crazy. They could just do the exact same match. Exact same carbon copy. And have Cena get destroyed by Roman and underestimate Roman. But you're going to want Cena to have those hope spots, make his comebacks, all of that. I think that they could either have Cena get annihilated, like Cena even said, and he's like, oh, I just need the 1, 2, 3. Just let Roman dominate him. Or Cena gets some early offense in, and then it turns into just Roman beating him to the end. And clean 1, 2, 3. Or you get Cena to pass out from the guillotine. And if you do that, then that can protect Cena that he passed out, he didn't tap out. And then you could always have the match again. They could do it at the Rumble, they could do it at Mania, and you could have Cena Roman 2 if they really wanted to do that. Chris says the storylines doesn't make sense. The best thing right now, based on the highlights I watch on YouTube, is Baron Corbin steals the show every week. I am with you. I mean, like, when Corbin was doing GM Corbin and all of that, and then back on SmackDown, like, I just was like, oh, come on, I'm so tired of Baron Corbin, the whole King thing. It was just bad and annoying. And now, he's asking, you see him with Kevin Owens? It's hilarious. He's like, I want $100,000, you can afford it. It's hilarious what they're doing with Corbin. And it will make him into this big, hilarious babyface. Or, what I think would be even cooler, Chris, is that if they... This whole thing is like set up like where Corbin is supposed to learn the lesson. The lesson is be nice to people, Baron. He's down on his luck. He's lost everything. He's got to change his ways. It's the Scrooge McDuck. But what would be hilarious is that Corbin, if he never changes... People are telling him, like, Kevin Owens is like, you've got to change the way you are. Like, you're bad to people. People don't like you. So, like, you've got to change the way you are doing things and be better. And I would love... And Corbin still is playing this where he's like, yeah, I know. It's terrible. Like, I lost my house and I let my wife let me... Like, it's all about him and he's still selfish. And it still works. So I wonder if the... Like, what the payoff will be. I wonder if it's just... Corbin doesn't learn his lesson. Or it seems like he does, and it looks like fans are going to get behind him, and then he ultimately does not, learn the lesson and turn good. But he is my favorite. Yeah, Luke, with the mustard shirt, it is fantastic. And WWE is wasting Big E big time gaming with JJ Cena. Losing out Big E is an interesting case, right? I feel that they've done a little bit of teases with the cash-ins, right, on Roman, but they haven't done anything else. Oh my god, give me a... You know that the first thing we're all doing when we get 2K22 is we are making Baron Corbin into like homeless Baron Corbin with the mustard shirt. Big E's Money in the Bank, I think that they're just going to draft him over to SmackDown or to Raw. I think that he needs a fresh coat of paint over on Raw with new feuds. I think that he can't do much more on SmackDown. And going back earlier to Luke with what the heck? My brain just lost its way. With Finn Balor. I think Balor is Roman's feud for the fall, like coming out of Cena. I think it's going to be Balor again, and the two of them will go back and forth for 3 months, 2-3 months. It'll be like Kevin Owens, and Balor will come up short, and it will circle into another feud for either of them, and Roman will still win, but they need that kind of mini feud going on, something smaller. Also with the draft, yeah, I think Big E should go to Raw and he can challenge Lashley and reunite the New Day. Keep doing the things separately, tag teams, all of that, but get them back together. Big pop, fans want to see it. It would be really, really cool. Keep Big E pushing as a single star, as a main eventer, and build him up more on Raw, and you get a kind of a fresh start with him. Over there, you can really push them into bigger feuds. I just wonder what I would like to see from Big E before they do the draft in like October. I want them to keep teasing the cash-in with Roman. Keep building that up and build it. I would love them to build Big E up on SmackDown right now, like he is the next guy to chase after Roman. And build it so that it almost feels like they're gonna have a match. Make it like a secondary, a beeline storyline going on between Roman, Big E, and Heyman. Keep pushing that narrative so fans think that this match is gonna happen, or Big E is going to like announce the cash in on Roman, or we're gonna get a cash in. Keep teasing that week over week, and then do the draft and draft him over to Raw, because then fans will get even bigger if they want to be able to see Big E take on Lashley and win the title, and it seems even more plausible. Chris says, and then they bring The Rock back to set up WrestleMania main event against Roman and classic WWE. Of course! Big match, big main events. They need it. They have to do those big money matches, and Roman now is your big money maker and big money match guy. Yeah, I want a unique set for SummerSlam too. I really hope it's not just a giant Tron. They need something. Yeah, Eric, it needs to be bigger. Like, having Big E and Raw needs to be bigger. They need to give him concrete stories. They need to do something bigger with him. Connor C, WWE. Hey, bro, it's the 2K22 news account. Oh, cool. Connor, what's up, buddy? Thank you so much for coming. It's been great chatting with you lately. I'm glad we've been able to connect. Guys, please go check out Connor C WWE. WWE news and updates. The 2K, WWE 2K22 news and updates. This fantastic work. He's all over everything. All the latest news. It's great to have you. SummerSlam sets in the 2000s were grand. Yeah, yes. Yeah, Eric, I miss the old days of the Attitude Era and oh, Jeff Hardy's going up for the weird swanton. I miss the days of Attitude Era and the early 2000s when the sets were like a part of the show, like really part of all of it, and it gave it so much more character. I miss the days of the Invasion sets and SummerSlam having a bigger feel. Now it's just all been stripped away and simplified, and like it's carbon copies of each other. I think I said this on the last stream, but I remember SummerSlam was in Toronto. I didn't go to SummerSlam. I went to the Raw after SummerSlam, which was fun. And yeah, the set was just like the Raw set. And I was like I get it, but man, you want to see something cool when it's a pay-per-view. That's what was always cool when you're a kid, right? Is seeing all the different sets, or like you could see highlights of it online and you're like, oh wow, this looks different, this looks really cool. It just adds a different element to it. Are you gonna check out Brian's stream tonight? Probably, Connor, probably not. Honestly, we're gonna be wrapping up in just a few minutes, but I'm gonna check out the highlights of it and everything, for tomorrow morning, and because I'm gonna go back and watch Raw at the beginning, because now we're like an hour into Raw, and I get to skip commercials, because it's long, because, oh my god, long show. 2, 3, the Hardys win! I love it. It's so much fun. Yeah, exactly. Remember Fully Loaded? That's what I was thinking! Eric, I was exactly thinking, Fully Loaded. Like, Backlash. Backlash. What are they doing with Apollo Crews? Yeah, okay, Apollo is another one, like Big E. Put them both on Raw and let them do their feud again. Just let them go after each other. Apollo lost the title. Fine. Apollo's character I really love. I really love that he cracked this thing. And it's working for him. But he's getting lost in the shuffle now, and now he's lost the title. Even when he had the title, it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, they didn't push it enough. I want to put Apollo Crews back on Raw. No title. You can have him go for the US title at some point. But put him up against Big E and just let them fight each other again, like they did on SmackDown. Do that for a month or two, just to get them both rolling again, because they had such good chemistry. That's a feud that you could always go back to, in my opinion. It's quick, but I love Apollo Crews. I think his promo work is 10 times better. They actually let him do stuff. I think he's just found a really great character, and that guy can be a main eventer. But I just worry that they won't do anything and they'll keep him in mid-card. Over the Edge with junked car art. Yeah, I know. Royal Rumble 2000, the Yellow Taxi. Like, all of that stuff. All of the Money in the Bank. Well, not the Money in the Bank back in the day. I was thinking, SummerSlam? Yeah, the old SummerSlam, they bring out all the ladders. They had different sets. And someone, what do you think of LEDs all over the arena now? Is wrestling supposed to be hardcore or very high production? Well, you're talking Thunderdome, Luke? I mean, having the LED panels all over the place, it's all Thunderdome. So I'm at 2K20 or 2K19 get more views than old games. Keep that in mind. Aw. Yeah. Well, if anybody can help Matt out with a code on Steam for 2K19, not 20. Not 20. It's hot trash and I already own it. I own 2K19 too. But I don't have them on my PC. And I don't want 2K20 on my PC, because I would worry that it is so bad that 2K20 will somehow infect my computer. I don't need viruses, because 2K20 is basically a virus. I saw melting faces. I know what's happening. But if anybody can help Matt out with a code for Steam for 2K19, we'd be cool. Paul Benito, what up, my good man? Luke, back to your question about LEDs in the panels. Yeah, that was all Thunderdome, right? Normal Raw and SmackDown. Just how they do all the production, basically. I think it's fine. I don't like the current set that much. Big LED floor, big LED board. The stars feel tiny. The board is the LED screen that what they're doing right now for Raw and SmackDown. I feel like, yeah, on one hand for production side, it's cool because they can do a lot of cool graphics and everything and make it feel like, wow, like really bright and really spectacular. But the stars, they feel so tiny because the set is so much bigger versus older Raw and SmackDown sets, like the fist on SmackDown. That was our favorite. But that thing, at least you felt like the stars were bigger. I don't know. It's camera angles too. Because then you see the big cutout of where they walk out from the Tron. And it looks weird. Karrion Kross is the biggest example of this for me, that I'm like, I don't care. Like, he looks so tiny. And then NXT looks much bigger. W2K20 better have a good mode. I agree. I want my Universe mode or GM mode or something mode that will actually make me content and not hate everything. Because good golly, Miss Molly, I am not into that. SummerSlam should be interesting for 2K22. Hopefully a gameplay trailer. Connor, I hope we get a bloody trailer. I want a cover star and a trailer, like I've said. Just something. Not Ray and Cesaro. Let's go. Chris, great dude. I always watch your vids and liking every vid. One of the best shows on YouTube. Aw, Chris, thank you. That means a lot. We're trying. And it seems like, to be honest, Chris, it seems like people enjoy the WWE conversations and the wrestling. And I do too. So, yeah, new episode tomorrow morning as well. It's like almost 9 p.m. here. And I'm having a blast doing the show. But it means a lot that you're hanging out and you give up your time. That's the biggest thing, is that there's 15 of you hanging out, chatting wrestling with me. I don't do a ton of live streams, but I'm having a blast. I'll take the advice, Chris, and we'll go and get 2K19. That's retro, technically, because it's old, because it's not current. And then we could play 2K19. I could also get the mods for it, and that is something that I have not done, and I would really like to do that, is get mods, get 2K19, and mod the bejesus out of it. It'll be more fun. Remember Shane's intro as WCW owner? Oh yeah. The red WCW logo in the spotlight of the ramp. It was cool. I remember when they did the one match with Buff Bagwell and Booker T on Raw. Remember that? And they changed the commentary team, and they changed it to WCW. That was fun. JJ Cena, I love WWE, and you my favorite YouTube. I got 2K19. I know, Luke. 2K19 servers are going down. That's going to be a bummer. I might have to get like 2 versions of 2K22 and get it on my PC and get it on my either Xbox or PlayStation. I haven't decided. Might have to have one just set up for playing here. Gaming with JJ, thank you. I really appreciate that. I hope you guys enjoy the news coverage. I always look for feedback. Any ways we can make things better for you and improve the show and talk about different things, I'm always in. There's not a lot of 2K22 coverage out there, or news, I should say. There's not a lot of news. Crumbs. Like I said in the last episode of the 2K22, it's the salt. The grains of salt that I drop. There's just very little, a lot of speculation, but I enjoy doing the speculation episodes too. They're just fun. But as soon as we get some actual concrete news about this, that's why this week is going to be pretty big for wrestling in general. I'm excited about it. I want to talk CM Punk on the show this week. I want to do, just to give you guys a little bit of inside baseball, looking at what we might have on the show this week. Matt has his real day job as well, so I have to consider that. I have to work. But I have time this week and I want to do more. I want to do like, is this the end of NXT? I want to do an episode like that. I want to do how Punk can change in AEW. For 2K22, the one that I wanted to do, and let me know, can you guys let me know in the chat? I had an idea for an episode. You should play WWE Here Comes the Pain. I should! Damn it. And I will. Connor, good to have you. Good to see you, buddy. Thank you so much for coming out. You keep it up. We'll talk. When I get news, I'll share with you. You get news, you share with me. We'll have a good time. Connor, thank you. Yeah, the one idea I had for a show, and let me know in the comments what you guys think. I wanted to do, should WWE 2K22 be the last game for a few years? Should 2K22 be the last game in the franchise as like WWE 2K22 and not have a 2K23 or 2K24? And what I was thinking with that was talking about how I've mentioned this on previous episodes where I'm like, I think that 2K with the WWE franchise, it needs to go to much more of a live service model, put out a wrestling title every few years, and not pump out the annual. Hence, we got a year and a half off because 2K20 was such a disaster and Yuke's gone and all of that stuff. The engine fell apart. We all know why. But yeah, like Eric, like what if it was every other year? And what could it look like? And look at what, based on how games are today as well as a whole, and the way so many players, not everybody, but a vast majority of players like to play a game like that title as their kind of tentpole title. And they play that core game that gets updated like Apex, like Call of Duty, bad example nowadays, then Fortnite, Valorant, so many games, Minecraft, Just because so many games nowadays are service. They can iterate on the core fundamentals of it, and they can add to it. Marvel's Avengers. I like that game has endless amounts of problems, and it's a disaster. But the War for Wakanda DLC looks very promising. The stream was today. I'm a huge Marvel fan. You can see this place. Look at this nonsense I've got going on in here. But as a huge Marvel fan, I thoroughly, like, I just love that game because I just love to be able to play with the DC, with the Marvel characters. But it's a game that has a core fundamental base, and then you can expand on it with DLC and add-on content. And I think you could do a similar idea to what games are doing right now, where it's, here's our base game, here's the core of it. You can add modes in, you can patch these things. Look at Call of Duty when it's like a 50 gig patch that comes out. It's insanity. But you could do that if they wanted to get this thing going year after year. And even for 2K that would want to make as much money as possible with this, if you put out the basic core fundamentals of the gameplay and everything is good, and fans are happy with it, you can do patches, you can do live updates, you can do paid DLC, you can add new titles, new arenas, new superstars, and you can have like one of the biggest rosters out there. But the problem too, I think, is that, I mean, you want to make money annually, but I think that they would actually have a lot more success if they were like, we built this thing up to, you know, we can add to it year over year. But you run into the problem where the games like that, they have this massive creation suite and online community, which I love, for custom creations, custom arenas, championships, all of that stuff. But because you do that, and they do a great job with it, it's harder to incentivize people to buy additional content. How are you gonna charge for like new attires? Like if Roman Reigns had a new attire and they're like, we're gonna make this in a DLC drop, everyone would be like, what are you doing? We gotta pay for this because to get the Roman Reigns shirt? Like, we can make this in the editors. That cuts out so much of what they could offer. And then it boils down to like, how could you actually make this a live service game where it doesn't come out every year, it comes out every few years? I think it's still very hard to do. So anyways, I'm spitballing with an idea with all of you guys live on the show. But I kind of like to talk about just like why it should or should not be the last game for a few years from 2K. But again, we'll know a lot more once the game actually comes out and we get our hands on it and we play it, and then we'll know. Chris says the licensing is the problem, and everything that's their characters that's fictional, so they can do it, but it's hard with real people in WWE. And that is also like one of the biggest problems. You do this annually because you have to shuffle all of the stars out, in and out, because of their contracts. It's much more complicated. COD has fallen off, and everyone cashing out on Battle Royale mode, looking at Fallout. Yeah, I agree, Eric. Assemble off topic. I really want an open world Flash game like Spider-Man, but I think it would be really hard to make. If I had that, I would play it. I'd do that. I'd pay for attires and venues and aesthetics. Eric, I would too, but like Chris was saying, the licensing is the biggest challenge. I mean, if you could take that out of the equation, and they could just get royalties in perpetuity for being in the game, then you could have something like that. But that's not the way they're going to run the business. They put out the annual games because they can make enough money off of them. Even 2K20 can make some money, even though it's dreadful. Well, this replay's been going on for too long. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all so very much. It's like 8:59 p.m. here, but I want to thank you all so very, very much for joining me here on the show, here on Assemble Retro Wrestling Live. I hope you guys had a good time. I had a lot of fun talking to all of you, all things about the current happenings with AEW Rampage, Cena, Roman Reigns, playing some Retro Wrestlemania 2000, talking about all the happenings with NXT as well. It's great being here, great having you guys all in the community, hanging out. Do me a favor, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, become channel members, community members as well. Love hanging out with you. I will have new episodes for you of the show tomorrow. I might do the CM Punk or the NXT video. I'm not too sure what I want to do yet. Got some tier rank ideas I want to do. And then 2K22 coverage. I will have all of it here for you. every time there is a little bit of news that we get. But it's going to be exciting. We have SummerSlam. I'm excited. I can't wait for that. And if we get 2K22 news, reveal, anything like that, I will actually do the episode like that day, that evening. If there's news coming out for 2K22 at SummerSlam, I will have it all covered for you here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. And as always, thank you all for assembling with us. See ya!